Hello everyone, Vincent Teo from HDTV Test here. I'm a TV reviewer and professional calibrator. It's been a very long day. I've been spending the whole morning and afternoon learning about LG's new TVs for 2018. And now, finally, I have the opportunity to spend some time with the LG C8 OLED television. Now, I believe that this OLED television will be of high interest to many of the subscribers to my channel for a number of reasons. First of all, this is going to be the most affordable OLED television that will be using the company's most advanced Alpha 9 processor, which tries to compete with the leading video processors from other TV brands. Now, in terms of Alpha 9, they will have a few features, but the most important ones are going to be more advanced video processing, more advanced noise reduction, and also the contouring filter. Alpha 9 also permits a 33-cube auto calibration capability in conjunction with portrait displays or spectacle with their Kalman software. Another thing that will attract most people to the C8 is going to be the variety of screen sizes that are going to be available. So it's going to be available in 55 inches, 65 inches, and also a massive 77 inches, making it probably the most affordable 77-inch OLED television on the market at launch. Now, I haven't actually received any pricing details or availability from LG UK, but they tell me that this information will be available fairly soon. And let me just talk through the whole 2018 OLED range. There will be the B8, there will be the C8, there will be the E8, there will be the G8, and there will be the W8 wallpaper television. And the C8 is going to be the most affordable model that will be using the Alpha 9 processor. But the step-down B8 will be using the Alpha 7 processor, which lacks a couple of features. First of all, the B8 with the Alpha 7 processor does not have the full 33-cube 3D light calibration capability with Spectracal's Kalman software. They only have a 17-cube, which gives them around 4,900 points of adjustment. But the C8 and also the E8, the G8 and the W8 with the Alpha 9 processor, they will have more than 35,000 points of adjustment in conjunction with the auto calibration capabilities that is afforded by the latest Kalman software. And also, the Alpha 7 processor basically is very similar to last year's M16P chip that was implemented on the 2017 OLEDs. So it won't actually have the advanced quad-step noise reduction, the decontouring filter, the advanced temporal noise reduction filter. The B8 won't have that, but the C8 will have it. And that is why I say that the C8 will be of the most interest to video enthusiasts and videophiles out there. Now, let me talk through the design of this television. This is the 55-inch version I'm standing beside. And you can see it's a very slim panel as what we have known OLED to be. And it uses what LG is calling a blade slim design. What it means is that it is extremely thin and there's a black bezel around the border, similar to last year's C7. And the stand has undergone sort of a revamp as well. It's a very tasteful curved shape with a classy gunmetal gray metallic kind of a finish, which is really nice to touch, if you are that sort of person who likes caressing. And another thing that I need to point out is that the speakers, because of the shape of the stand, the speakers are down-firing. So it will be transmitting the sound downwards and then deflecting it forwards to try and give you a better sound feel. And LG is saying that this television, besides its availability in 55-inch, 65-inch, and also 77-inch sizes, why it would appeal to video enthusiasts is because they will usually have their own sound system. And therefore, this TV, as you can see, unlike the G8, unlike the W8, is not equipped with an integrated soundbar. So videophiles can still use their own home theater solution to achieve a better sound and save some money on the provided audio system. So from that point of view, certainly I think the C8 will be one of the best-selling OLED TVs on the market for the year 2018. So that's the design. Let me go through the connections. So the connections are found on the left of the display, and there are 4 HDMI ports, and all 4 HDMI ports are compatible with HDMI 2.0B with HDCP 2.2, and this again is an advantage versus other brands, because most other OLED TVs on the market, they will have at most 2 full bandwidth HDMI ports. Let's say the Sony A1 or the A8F OLED, only HDMI ports 2 and 3 are compatible with a full fat HDMI bandwidth of, let's say, 4K at 50 Hz, 60 Hz at higher chroma or bit depth, whereas the LG will have 4. The Panasonic OLEDs as well, I believe the 2017 version, I haven't actually seen the 2018 ones, but on the 2017 version, only HDMI ports 1 and 2 are full bandwidth. But the LG OLED, just like what happened in 2017, the C8 will have 4 full bandwidth, full fat HDMI 2.0 ports with HDCP 2.2. Now, coming to the question of HDMI 2.1, I know many of you out there are waiting for HDMI 2.1, and I think some of the features can be implemented on 2.0b. The thing is, LG currently doesn't have any support for any of these features, such as enhanced ARC, or such as quick media switching, such as variable refresh rate, such as the auto low latency mode. What auto low latency mode does is that if you actually hook up an updated Xbox One X to the television, when you insert a game and start playing a game, the TV will automatically switch to game mode. So the LG currently doesn't support that. Talking of which, game mode, very, very important feature for many of you gamers out there. I managed to put my input lag tester on this LG C8, and as you can see from the screen, the results are exactly identical to last year, 21 milliseconds in game mode. But what has improved in this year's game mode for LG OLED are probably twofold. First of all, there's black frame insertion on the LG 2018 OLEDs, and the black frame insertion can also be enabled in game mode. I think personally, from the fleeting footage that I actually watched during this very time-limited demo, there's still some flicker and brightness drop, but again, I'll need to get the set into my test room and test it thoroughly before I can make a final conclusion. But the second advantage of the game mode, especially HDR game mode for the LG 2018 OLED, is the provision of dynamic tone mapping in game mode. Now, if you remember, on 2016 and 2017 OLEDs, LG has issued several firmware updates that actually tries to tone map the HDR games to maintain specular highlight detail. But because some of these games are mastered all the way up to 10,000 nits, the average picture level, or APL, or the overall brightness can become too dark. And as a result, the manufacturer and also maybe any retailer who sells LG OLEDs last year and the year before have received complaints from disgruntled owners who are complaining that when they are playing, let's say, Assassin's Creed Origins, let's say when they're playing FIFA 18, that the picture looks too dark versus other HDR mode, like let's say the HDR Cinema or HDR Standard mode. But this year, what happened is that LG has listened to customers' feedback, and they have implemented dynamic tone mapping inside HDR game mode as well, which would boost the brightness while trying to maintain specular highlight detail even for 10,000 nit games. And certainly I experienced a side-by-side comparison between the LG 2018 OLED versus the 2017 one, and also a competing OLED from another brand. I won't tell what it is, probably Sony or something. But what we can see is that on the FIFA 2018, again, we are not allowed to capture any video or take any footage because it's copyrighted content. But the FIFA 18 footage looked extremely bright, looked extremely sharp. And I think the combination of dynamic tone mapping and also black frame insertion may appeal to a lot of gamers out there. Also, there's another advantage I actually forgot with regards to game mode. So game mode on the 2018 OLED, including the C8, can be calibrated very accurately in both HDR and SDR modes through the 3D LUT AutoCal function that is provided in partnership with Portrait Displays or SpectraCal. So you will get all the benefits of accurate colors, you will get the benefits of clear motion if you use black frame insertion and if you can tolerate the flicker, and you will get a brighter APL in HDR games, which I think is going to appeal to a lot of gamers out there, and especially in conjunction with the extremely low input lag of 21 milliseconds as well. So I've spent a lot of time talking about gaming, but another thing that I need to talk about is the side effects of gaming. And a lot of people are worried about buying OLEDs for playing games because of the risk of image retention and also permanent screen burn or burn-in. Now, again, I think all of us are very polite in this room, and none of us journalists actually stood up and asked LG about what their thoughts are about burn-in. But from my experience, right, as a professional calibrator, as a professional journalist, and having spoken to many other calibrators and other journalists, and having calibrated so many OLED televisions over the years, I think burn-in is really a non-issue on home sets if you don't really watch static content. Let's say static content that is like red based. So let's say in the States, I think there have been complaints about screen burn or burn in from watching CNN, and the CNN logo is red, and therefore it uses up the subpixel faster, and therefore you get this burn in effect, this ghosting that is permanent on screen. But in the UK, certainly we never received any complaints about Sky because the logo is fairly transparent. The BBC logo is all white as well. We just don't see burn-ins on OLED in the UK because if you let the TV does its own job of doing its own compensation cycle, it is a non-issue. But the risk is there, and many consumers are afraid. So what LG did for 2018 is to actually implement a logo luminous adjustment function in the user menu. So what this does is to try and dim down the static logo once it detects it. It is not very obvious, but it will slowly dim it down over time to make the transition less obvious. So the dimming is actually fairly gradual over time. And there are three settings. You can choose to turn it off, or you can choose the low setting or the high setting. The high setting will be more aggressive and will dim it down even further. So in other words, you get to choose your own level of protection. And my advice to you is always use protection. So that is from the burn-in side of things. And I also managed to actually capture a macro shot of the subpixel. And I think there's been some macro shots floating around on the internet with regards to a new subpixel structure for the 2018 OLEDs. Now, having spoken to LG Electronics, they deny that there is a new panel. They say that the panel is exactly the same as last year. And I think that, again, you can make the judgment yourself from the subpixel structure. You can theorize whether the larger red subpixel is to actually combat burn-in. And maybe the only company who will know the true answer to why the subpixel was changed is actually LG Display. And remember, I think I've stressed this before in my previous videos, that there is a difference between LG Display and LG Electronics. LG Display is the company who makes the OLED panel, whereas LG Electronics is the one who actually use the OLED panel to make the televisions and sell the televisions that you can actually buy from store shelves. So I think the ultimate answer will come from LG Display. We maybe have to reach out to them for a comment. But here is the subpixel structure, and you can make your own conclusions. So I think I've covered most things. I don't have much time to actually spend with the television, and I do hope that we can get a review sample in soon. I think what will be of most interest is how the Alpha 9 processor will stack up to the X1 Extreme processor from Sony, and also to the HCX processor from Panasonic. And I think overall, looking just at the picture, because I actually had the chance to switch this to the most accurate picture preset, and it looked insanely good. I have to say that it looked insanely good, and it's on course to become one of the best TVs this year in terms of picture quality. If you found this video useful, please click the like button and subscribe to the HDTV Test YouTube channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.